Rajesh hated his math teacher, Mr. Sharma. He was the most strict teacher in the whole school. He didn't allow any talking in class, not even a whisper. He would stand at the front of the room, holding a wooden ruler, and glare at the students with his piercing eyes. If he caught anyone making a sound, he would slam the ruler on their desk and send them to the principal's office. He called it the silent class. Rajesh and his friends Priya, Ravi, and Anjali had to sit in the front row, right under Mr. Sharma's nose. They couldn't even exchange a smile or a nod without risking his wrath. They felt like prisoners in their own classroom. But they were not going to let Mr. Sharma ruin their fun. They had devised a secret way of communicating with each other, sign language. They had learned it from a book in the library, and practiced it during recess and lunch break. They had also invented some signs of their own, for things like boring, funny, cool, and let's go. They used their hands, fingers, and facial expressions to convey their messages, while keeping their mouths shut. They had become quite good at it, and could have entire conversations without making a sound. They would comment on Mr. Sharma's boring lectures, crack jokes, share gossip, and plan their after-school activities. They would also help each other with the math problems, by showing the answers or hints with their fingers. They had to be very careful, though. They had to make sure that Mr. Sharma didn't see them moving their hands or faces too much. They had to pretend that they were paying attention to him, while secretly looking at each other. They also had to watch out for the other students, who might get jealous or suspicious of their silent communication. One day, they decided to play a prank on Mr. Sharma. They had noticed that he always wore the same brown suit and tie every day. They thought it would be funny to make him think that he had spilled something on his clothes. They waited for the right moment, when Mr. Sharma was writing something on the board. Then Rajesh signed to Priya, "You start." Priya nodded and raised her hand. "Sir, can I ask you a question?" she said in a loud voice. Mr. Sharma turned around and looked at her. "What is it?" he said impatiently. Priya pointed at his tie and said, "Sir, what is that stain on your tie?" Mr. Sharma looked down at his tie and saw nothing. "What stain?" he said. Priya looked surprised and said, "Sir, there is a big stain on your tie. It looks like coffee or tea." Mr. Sharma frowned and rubbed his tie with his hand. "I don't see any stain," he said. Priya shook her head and said, "Sir, it's right there. How can you not see it?" Mr. Sharma got annoyed and said, "Stop wasting my time with your nonsense. There is no stain on my tie." He turned back to the board and continued writing. Priya smiled and signed to Ravi, "Your turn." Ravi raised his hand and said, "Sir, can I ask you a question?" Mr. Sharma sighed and turned around again. "What is it now?" he said. Ravi pointed at his suit jacket and said, "Sir, what is that spot on your jacket?" Mr. Sharma looked down at his jacket and saw nothing. "What spot?" he said. Ravi looked shocked and said, "Sir, there is a big spot on your jacket. It looks like ink or paint." Mr. Sharma scowled and rubbed his jacket with his hand. "I don't see any spot," he said. Ravi shook his head and said, "Sir, it's right there. How can you not see it?" Mr. Sharma got angry and said, "Stop lying to me with your nonsense. There is no spot on my jacket." He turned back to the board and resumed writing. Ravi grinned and signed to Anjali, "Your turn." Anjali raised her hand and said, "Sir, can I ask you a question?" Mr. Sharma groaned and turned around once more. "What is it this time?" he said. Anjali pointed at his pants and said, Sir, what is that mark on your pants? Mr. Sharma looked down at his pants and saw nothing. What mark? He said. Anjali looked horrified and said, Sir, there is a big mark on your pants. It looks like mud or dirt. Mr. Sharma snarled and rubbed his pants with his hand. I don't see any mark, he said. Anjali shook her head and said, Sir, it's right there. How can you not see it? Mr. Sharma got furious and said, Enough! You are all lying to me with your nonsense. There is no stain, no spot, no mark on my clothes. You are all trying to make fun of me. Well, I'm not going to take it anymore. You are all going to the principal's office. Now! He grabbed his ruler and pointed at the door. Out! 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 He shouted. Rajesh, Priya, Ravi, and Anjali got up from their seats and walked towards the door. Don't miss out on our latest uploads. Hit the notification bell so you're the first to experience each new story. Dive into the world of Whispering Stories, where every tale is a journey waiting to be embarked upon. Thank you for being a part of our storytelling family.